Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm your host, Wendy Corner, and this podcast is for you if you are an entrepreneur. Yes, page and stage come together in entrepreneurship. Now you may think, oh, I'm not an author. Well, you may have a contributory book out. You may have a solo book out. You may have a regular blog. If you're an entrepreneur, you've got socials out, haven't you? Well, what's that if it's not published work? Check that box. What about the speaking thing? A lot of people go to me, no, I can't do the public speaking. Do you go to networking meetings? That's a stage. Can you talk to one person at a time, one-on-ones? Then you can do a podcast. That's a stage, like we're doing now. It doesn't have to be the raised platform with the microphone and can't do that. Come on, get on a podcast with us. Let's share your message. Anyway, today, I have the joy and pleasure of welcoming Robyn Harris. Now, Robyn is in Wales, in the UK, and I'm here in Malaysia. So this is one of those wonderful international ones that we get together. So Robyn, now I know probably about that much about you. Would you share a bit more about yourself? How you got to where you are today, please?
Thank you, Wendy. It's a pleasure to be here. And I just love all that you've just said. For me, I got to where I am today because of my own personal journey. I, years ago, found myself in a place where I just felt like life wasn't worth living anymore. Everything felt dark and miserable and effort. And I just didn't know if I had the energy to keep pushing and keep going on that fight, because that's what it felt like. And I felt like my body was letting me down. It was falling apart. And I tried traditional things. I went to the doctor and I got put on medication. I got referred for counselling. And at the time, neither of those were working for me. Looking back, only recently I realised it was because I felt disempowered, not empowered. And I wanted to feel like I had the tools I might need, because life always throws you curveballs, and that I would have the tools I needed for that. So I went on a journey to find them, to see if I could find them, because I didn't really believe it at that point.
Oh, golly, what a start to your journey. Whew. It was that disease thing, wasn't it? And that's one of your that's one of your big things. Well,
along my journey, yes, the language and the words we use and how we use those words and how we look at things like what I now call dis-ease rather than disease.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to take you back in time. We're going to come back to the dis-ease in a minute, but I want to take you back in time for a minute. What got you writing in the first place? When did you realise it was something that you were very good at?
Well, certainly not at school. I remember submitting essays in my English classes and getting them back covered in red pen and just feeling like, I can't do this, I'm no good at it. And then when I set up my business, I started a blog. And I think it was something about getting stuff out and putting it down on paper. And it felt like, no, even before that, I started journaling. And it was getting stuff out onto paper and being able then to take a step back and see it from a different perspective, and how much I felt that was really helping me to work through my own thoughts and feelings and perspectives. And then, as I say, starting the blog and sharing the things that I had realised, learnt, experienced. I think, and then people would comment on blogs that I'd written, and it seemed like it was touching something with people. So I kept going.
Yeah, it could be. You have written a book, haven't you?
I have now written a book, yes.
Ooh. Tell us about that.
For years, people had been commenting on my blogs and saying, you've written so much, you should write a book. And I think they were thinking, all the blogs that you've written, take them, put them together and create a book out of that. Yeah. And that was tempting because I thought, well, I've already got the material there. But the thought of going back and rehashing it and working out how to put it together was not lighting me up. So I just decided no. And I'd also met somebody through networking who is a book editor. And having a conversation with her, I just decided, no, I'm going to go and write my story and where that has taken me and what I've learned along the way, and offer that because with the hope that it'll resonate with people and help them on their journey. And so that's what I did with this beautiful editor who was amazing. She helped me so much. She made my book into something that I could be proud of. Anne-Marie Reynolds of beginnerbook.com. She's, yeah, just absolutely amazing and so supportive and so good at drawing you out. You think you've written something that's quite self-challenging and you've been open and honest, and Anne-Marie comes back and says, this needs a little bit more, it needs to be expanded, you need to be more vulnerable and share more of your story, not just the generals, but the specifics. Okay, then. So it was a journey in itself, but it's amazing to have done it.
I'm going to ask you, did you find it transformational in and of itself, the writing process?
Absolutely. It was very cathartic, and it took me back to things, lessons that I'd learnt that I'd kind of forgotten about, and to things that I had skipped over, probably thought, yes, I've done with that, that's fine. And then when you go back, you think, no, there's still stuff in there, still a little bit more to process and release. But I often say to people, because people will say, oh, I've dealt with this, why is it coming up again? And I'll say, this is something to celebrate. It's not something to feel bad about, to feel guilty that you haven't done the work, that you haven't done the right thing or done it properly. It's that you've gone deeper. Yes. And you weren't ready. We're only ready when we're ready.
Yes.
So at the time, your inner wisdom knew, I can go this far, but I don't have the tools for the rest of it yet. And it holds that, not to beat us up with it, but to give us the opportunity when we are ready, when we have developed the tools that will get us through that, that it'll present it again and say, now's the time. Come with me, let's do this. So my book was quite a few of those as well.
Oh, Robyn, I can so relate. Audience, as we are recording this, I have on a different tab, which I've just about closed all my other tabs, my edits for my first book. So I'm just exactly on literally the same page as Robyn right now. And that, thought I dealt with that. As you say, next layer down, like the onion, you've taken a layer off, you've cried that bit, you got rid of that one, and then when you're ready, off comes another layer and more tears go with it. Yeah. So when did your book come out?
July of last year, 2024.
We will make sure that the show notes give a link to your book. Amazon and Ingram Sparks. So we'll find it in
It's
bookstores
Ingram
as well?
Spark. Yeah, it's Ingram Spark, so it's available on Amazon and also Waterstones online.
Right, okay. Waterstones online for the Brits. Just saying. But everybody else is going, Waterstones? What's Waterstones? It's one of the few bookstores left in the UK. Very sad, but that's the case. Yeah. Now, Heathers is still going, isn't it, in Cambridge? Yeah. Anyway, a little bit of parochial stuff. So we've talked about the writing thing, where that started, and that processing of your emotions through journaling. There are so many people who have found that, when I've been talking to them, have found that to be such a great release. And as you said, processing it, getting it out, it brings it away from the amorphous and puts parameters on it, doesn't it? Yeah, love it.
Yes, something I swore I would never ever do. Not me. I don't journal. I don't put my thoughts down on paper. partly because I was afraid somebody else might read it. But once I got started, and I'd find myself sometimes sitting down thinking, I've nothing to write. I will write 2 lines just for the sake, because I'd kind of set myself a challenge that I would write every day. I will write 2 lines. 4 pages later, I'm still going thinking, where on earth is all of this coming from? But oh my goodness, it's really giving me insights into what's going on.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, isn't it? And particularly if you do the physical old-fashioned pen and
Yes.
paper, because that way you've got the kinesthetic feedback as well as the mental dump, and you've also got the auditory as you're saying it to yourself,
Yes.
and it's coming out and you're reading it back, and every
Yeah.
which way you can do your processing. And it is so powerful because you get the data dump. What I say to authors is just write. Don't worry about censoring it, full stops, paragraphs. Yeah, just get it out on paper. Then you can go back and do the first edit.
Yes.
Yeah, it is such a powerful tool. Thank you for sharing that, Robyn. I want to move you on for a minute. Tell us about your speaking journey.
Again, something I was never going to do. If you had said to me when I was at school, or even probably a decade or more later, you will get up in front of a group of people and speak on your own, nobody else, so you will be there on the raised platform with the microphone. No, never. I'm not going to speak in front of one person, let alone a room full of people. But I think with my writing and also with going to networking events, like you say, being an entrepreneur, you post, you're putting your voice out there, even if it's in writing rather than audio. Going to networking events, having one-to-ones, doing those 60-second introductions, I started to find my voice and started to understand it's not about me, it's about the message. And that's what people want to listen to. They just want to know, what can I learn? What can I get from what you're sharing? And I've been on training where they say the people who book to come to hear you speak, they are coming as an interested audience. They're not, by and large, coming to heckle you or pick holes in what you're sharing. They're coming because they're interested in the topic, they want to know more about the topic, possibly for the bigger speakers, they've heard you before and they want more from you. Because I started listening to other speakers and there were ones that I thought, oh, I want more of you, I just want more of your wisdom. So thinking that that's what they're there for. And what I love is to think of it not as speaking to, but as speaking with. And I think that's what shifted things for me, because then I'm not standing up there under a spotlight in my mind. I'm just, let's have a conversation. Let's start a conversation.
And that's the thing, isn't it? When you take the emphasis off me and you come at it from the position of what's in it for me, audience perspective, what do they want to know from you? Then suddenly it goes, the spotlight, as you say, is off you, and you're not talking at, you're talking with. Yeah, so important, isn't it? I had a conversation. I had a CEO come to me. She'd got 3 weeks, came to me 3 weeks before she was about to pitch to a load of financiers. She had a not-for-profit. My first question to her was, what do they want to know? She said, what do you mean? Do you mean, what am I going to tell them? I said, no, listen carefully. What do they want to know? Oh, I don't know. I said, well, you're going to need to know that one. She had got this wonderful talk set up, death by PowerPoint, but that's another matter entirely, of the process of what she had, her not-for-profit was organising, which was going along Aboriginal lines. And I said, the main question they want to know is, are you a credible risk to their money? Well, yes, of course. Well, lead with that. That's what they want to know. Yeah, it's nice, airy, fairy stuff, what you're doing, but can I trust you with my money? Am I going to get it back with interest? Oh, yeah, that's what you lead with. Once you've satisfied that question, then you can go into the rest of it. Okay, she said. We had a bit of work to do. But yeah, it's leading from their perspective, isn't it? Absolutely. So you've been speaking in front of on live stages. Do you do virtual work as well?
Yes, I do. Yes, I've spoken on some online summits, or in March, there was a skills and learning weekend of a professional body, I guess, that I belong to. So I spoke at that. Recently, I spoke at a bereavement event.
Okay.
I run workshops, I run training. So, yes.
And you got a plethora of different stages there. And each one of them has a subtly different skill set involved. They're all related, but they are subtly different, aren't they? Yeah.
They are,
the
yes.
facilitation, the workshop thing is quite different to keynoting.
Yes.
And then when you stick yourself in front of a camera and you've got to be aware of how far your box goes, you can't be very effusive with your hands because nobody can see what I'm doing with my fingers. Bring it back.
For me, that's not so much of an issue because I also work in sign language. So I'm used to the concept of a space that I sign within.
Yes.
And I'm used to how much can you see on the screen because I need to be signing within that box so that if I'm presenting online in sign language, they can see what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, do you do much sign work? Because it's my understanding of it is it's almost impossible to sign and speak simultaneously because of the different grammar and word order.
Not almost, it is impossible if you're signing full sign language, because some people use SSE, sign supported English. So then you do sign along with English.
Yes. Yeah.
But for full British Sign Language, BSL or ASL or any of the other sign languages, if you're doing that language, that's the language. Yes. You're not doing English alongside of it.
Audience, if you're hearing, which I suspect most of you are, and you are going, well, sign's the same the world over. No, it's not. Just as audible language is different, French is different from English, is different from German, is different from Spanish, so are sign languages.
They also have language families, just as spoken languages do, but they may not follow the spoken language family. So ASL, they speak English in America, but ASL is completely different to British Sign Language. And then if you go to Australia, Auslan, it's very similar to what we use in Britain, and they speak English. So, but what American Sign Language, ASL, is more related to French Sign Language, LSF, and Irish Sign Language.
That bit I did not know. Where does Canadian fit in with this? Because you've got both French and English in Canada, haven't you?
I think their sign language is very similar to ASL, American Sign Language.
Thank you. That's me just purely being interested, because when I worked in the UK, I was a Makaton rep. So I have a smattering of that. Still careful that I don't use it automatically, because very different, as you say, across the world. Apart from something like that and something like that. Okay, sorry, audience.
You have to be careful.
Even with the telephone?
Telephone is probably okay because that's very iconic.
Yes.
But the thumbs up sign, that's actually man in Japanese.
Is it?
It
so
is.
Would you do the okay?
That one you have to be careful with because it means different things in different cultures.
Ooh. Is there a generic positive sign?
Probably the thumbs up is acceptable now because you see it in so many things like Coke adverts and so on.
Emojis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The like in Facebook, all of those things. So that's probably become standard, but it is the sign for man in Japanese. And then the little finger up is a sign for woman. Whereas in the UK, that's a sign for bad or anything that's related to bad.
Yeah. Sorry, audience, we're going to go off on a tangent here because we're the fun of language, the fun of language. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So your speaking skills obviously are not confined to audible language, but you have BSL. You're a registered interpreter?
I am, yes.
Great, great. So you get called on to, say, interpret at events?
I do, yes. And I also deliver directly in sign language as well.
Right, cool. So have you, is part of your website sign?
I have a page on both of my websites that is labeled BSL so that people can click on that and see a brief bit of information in sign language, which is more encouraging people to contact me so that I can then speak with them in sign rather than, because otherwise it's very static, it's difficult to change, you have to do it as a whole video, and text, for most deaf people, they don't have English to that level. So it's easier just if you're deaf and you want to know some information, just contact me and I will communicate with you directly.
Thank you. Thank you. As I said, audience, forgive the little interruption here on, not interruption, digression.
Aside.
Aside, yes. We have your page. We have your stage. We have this wonderful book. You got anything else that's percolating at the moment? Any new things coming up?
I think the newest thing is the work with deaf people. So that's fairly recent. And also, I've just started a new podcast with a colleague. So I already have a couple of other podcasts that have run their course and they have finished. I've got a podcast with one colleague called Nigel Streeter of Interact. That goes out sort of on a monthly basis. And I've got this new one with the diabetes destroyer, Stephen Leggett. And he and I are talking about vulnerability, introspection, and growth. It's the VIG podcast, which can be found on YouTube. Yeah, so that one's very new. It's got one episode out so far, and then there's another one in the editing process, and we'll be recording again this afternoon.
Well, there'll be more out by the time we get this published. So what we'll do, audience, is look out in the show notes for the link to, are you doing it as a video version? Are you doing it audio only?
Video on YouTube.
Video on YouTube. So we'll pop up the YouTube channel so you can go check out, because by the time this gets published, there will be a few more episodes to go. Love it. Oh, an audience, if you don't already know about the podcast, this podcast, I have what I call dynamic show notes, which means that when I have a guest come to me and go, I've got something new coming up, I go, oh, tell me more. We change the show notes, we add something in, and I do a quick social blast. If it's a new book, come hither, tell us more, and we do another episode. Again, audience, if you have a book coming out, get hold of me quickly, because I'm recording quite a long way in advance. So do make sure that you book into podcasts well in advance of your launch. Love it. As we are coming to a winding up, how do you embody your words when you take them from page to stage?
I find that a very interesting one when you were sending me the questions that you were going to ask, and you put that one in. And I think for me, the biggest thing that I do is breathing.
Right.
It's to come back to my center and to ground myself, because otherwise I tend to go out of my body into my head, and then my head is spinning so fast trying to remember all of the things that I want to say that it spins off somewhere else and goes into, like the wheel of death in the computer, when it's just, no, processing isn't happening. We're just taking our time here. And that's what my brain does. So for me, it's really important to get back into my body and to be breathing properly from the diaphragm, not from up in my upper chest, because that will just sends me into panic.
Yep, exactly.
So it's coming back down, grounding myself. I tend to be barefoot. I've been barefoot. I set myself a challenge last year that I was going to go barefoot as much as I can. So I haven't worn shoes around the house, even through the winter, even on our quarry tile floor, just to see if it would help me ground. And it really is. So I'm still keeping with my bare feet. And I'm starting to be known as kind of the Barefoot Speaker now, because it really does help me.
Do you speak on stage with bare feet?
I haven't on a raised stage, but the space in front of the audience stage, yes, I have. Yeah, a couple of times. And it really does. And people notice, and we have a conversation about it then as to why I'm doing it. And because I'm speaking on well-being topics, it really connects in.
Introduction to grounding.
Yes.
Audience, guess what? I got bare feet right now. And also the need to plant them. So when you are speaking, go on.
To be in the present moment, like you say, connected with the space, with the people, and that idea of speaking with rather than to, I think it helps me with that.
Yeah. But getting back to the grounding thing for a minute, if I can sort of hijack this for a second, with your foot, you have 3 main points of contact. The base of your heel, under your big toe, under your little toe. All 3 of those need to be planted with weight equal on all 3 spots. Because if you lean back, you risk falling over backwards. If you lean forward too much, you can face plant. Neither of which is a good look when you're on stage. So keep the weight even. You're grounding yourself exactly as Robyn's just said. So on the same page. I'm aware, Robyn, that we haven't covered your wonderful dis-ease. Do tell us about how important the language is on that one, please.
For anybody reading my book, I do put in a piece because my editor picked up on the fact that I split words. So dis-ease is just one, but my WILD acronym, the first part of that is wonderful and wonder. So I say wonder, full. Full as in F-U-double-L, rather than wonderful, it would only have the one L. And I have learned along the way how important our language is, and the words we choose to use and how we use them, and how we speak to ourselves, and how we envisage things or frame things. So because my work is very much focused on taking away the fear of illness, which was a very big part of my journey. I was practically OCD and germ phobic, but now realize that dis-ease is a perfectly normal, natural part of a cycle of well-being. That our body is always adapting and adjusting to what's happening around us, within us. And that can lead to us being in fight or flight. And then when we shift out of fight or flight, that's when we actually experience symptoms. When we're in fight or flight, we're too busy surviving. But when we shift into regeneration, we call it, but basically when the body is, I can let go of that stuff now, I can get back to balance and harmony and carrying on with normal life. That's when most of our, what we think of as symptoms of disease come, pain, inflammation, swelling, all of those things are in that phase. So for me to reframe how I was looking at things, that it's just I am experiencing a lack of ease somewhere in my life, which is manifesting in my body. But when I'm having those symptoms, I've already started to let it go. So it's just about supporting my body to carry on letting it go, because otherwise my self-talk can make me panic, push me back into fight or flight and survival and defense mode. Yeah. And then I'm not completing the cycle. I'm just going round and round and round.
Ooh, what a wonderful reframe. So when the Aussies listening to this are going into winter, so they're coming up to their flu season. So what you're saying, if I've got this right, is that when we have these cold symptoms, because not every cold is a flu, that has to be a very clear distinction between a proper flu and a cold. If I've got this right, what you're saying is actually your body is processing stuff that's already on its way out. So what we're doing is then supporting it to finish that off, rather than, I mean, how do you feel about cold and flu remedies that suppress the symptoms?
Well, you've hit the nail on the head. You said suppress the symptoms. Yeah. And also, if you think about a simple cold or flu, or even COVID, how many symptoms are on the COVID list now? Is there a symptom that isn't on the COVID list now? And people get different symptoms. So one person might have a chest cold, another person might have a head cold, another person might have a bad throat. And in the work that I do, we chunk down symptoms. Which symptoms are you actually experiencing? Is it your sinuses? That's actually one thing that's going on there. Is it your throat? That's something else. If you have the two together, you have the two reasons together, the two purposes that your body is fulfilling. If you have a chest cold, that's something else again, and it's a different underlying reason why your body's going through that. And again, if you have all three, you have those three reasons, those three purposes that your body is seeking to work through. So I chunk them down and look at each one and explore with the person, when did your symptoms start? Which tissue are they affecting? What is that tissue seeking to do? Right, what is your body asking for? We can get very specific on it. So although they're called seasonal illnesses, are they really? Or is there something that your body has been holding that it seeing a change in the weather, feeling a change in the weather brings up for you? Yeah. Or just the fact that we're in this soup of belief that it's this time of year I get sick with this kind of dis-ease. But also, if you think, I don't know in Australia, but here in the UK, we're coming up to our Christmas break during the winter. And people have this sense of, I must get everything done before we stop, because we're going to have Christmas and New Year and everything down tools, stop. Family might be coming over for Christmas. If I've got kids, I have to make it the perfect Christmas for them. I have to buy all the gifts. I may not have much money, particularly in the current economy. We're all worried about cost of living rising. So there's all this pressure from maybe your boss or your employer, or if you're an entrepreneur, from I just have to get through everything because it's the big break coming up. Mm-hmm. And there's the weather pressure because it is colder, and we're maybe not listening to our body that we're wintering. We are part of nature. We are designed to follow nature's rhythms and cycles. Our body is probably asking to slow down in winter. And there we are going, no, I have to get all my work done. So we put all this pressure on ourselves, and our body therefore is in fight or flight. And when we stop, how many people get sick when they go on holiday? How many people get migraines? I used to be one on a Friday, because you've got all that pressure and then it stops. And when it stops, your body goes, thank goodness, I can let go of that stress now. And so it is detoxing. It's letting go And that's what creates our symptoms.
Audience, isn't this fascinating? Isn't this a refreshing way to look at dis-ease? I mean, I'm listening to you because, again, in Australia, the Christmas break is our summer holiday. And basically, everything shuts down from the 20th of December around till Australia Day, which is the 25th of January. 26th of January. 25th, 26th. I keep forgetting which one's which. Burns Night's one of the first one. And then, so Burns Night's on the 25th and Australia Day's 26th. So that whole month, nobody expects to do any work. It's jolly hot, or at least it is in Perth. And yeah, people do get sick because, like you've said, it's the letting go. That is fascinating. Aren't you fascinated, audience? Can you see why you really need to connect with this lovely lady? Explore what she's got. There are lots of blogs. There's her book. There are podcasts. You can learn a thing or two, eh? I don't want to stop. But Robyn, as we are definitely winding up, what final words of wisdom have you got for us?
I think it would be to allow for moments of stillness. In our world, it's so noisy. We're being bombarded with news and social media and updates and notifications. Where is the space just to be still and just to go within and listen? Because we have an inner wisdom, it's like a compass, it guides us, but it's got a quiet voice. It's even below all of the emotional stuff, because sometimes people are thinking, well, I feel this, so that's my body telling me to do X, Y, Z. But the knowing, our inner knowing and wisdom is below that again. It's really quiet. And we can only hear it when we get still. And it isn't that really strong, you must do this or don't do that because that's scary, don't do, avoid that. It's the knowing where you just go, yes. And it may not be a voice, it may be just a uh-huh, or uh-huh, or just, I'm quite kinesthetic, so for me it's just a feeling.
Yeah.
Each person, it's about tuning in to know, how does my inner wisdom communicate with me? Does it speak? Is it a taste? Is it a smell? So what are your prime senses? Are you a visual person, an auditory person, olfactory, gustatory? What is your way of picking up on your own inner wisdom? And to allow the stillness to tune into that. And when you hear it, listen. And the more you listen, the more your body goes, yes, and seeks to set up a dialogue so that it doesn't have to shout then. We can just listen, tune in, follow, trust, and find who we were meant to be. Step into that rather than being somebody else, what somebody else has decided or told us. And not to say that they're not doing their best for us, but that's their perspective,
Yes.
Which probably works well for them. And if they're looking at us and thinking you should do X, Y, Z, that's still their perspective. And it's fine to take advice from other people, but weigh it up, check it against that inner voice. Does it resonate? Or yes, but I want to do it my way. That's the best, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I just had my goosey moments. I love it when I get goosey moments because I'm so on the same page with that. Thank you so much. We're going to hurry. Sorry, audience. Well, I'm going to stop the recording, and Robyn and I are going to carry on. So just you can go mind yourself. Seriously, go and find Robyn's information on the show notes. Do connect with her. This woman has got so much wild wisdom. Go find it. Thank you so much, Robyn, for sharing your from page to stage.
Thank you, Wendy. It's been wonderful to be here and such an honour. Thank you.
Bye from us.